Ever wondered why Sweden, a small country way up in the north, has so many renowned companies? Ever wondered why Swedish inventions are found all over the world? A historically strong industrial sector and innovative companies that aim for the global market from day one are surely a large part of the explanation. But that's not the whole picture. For decades, the Swedish export credit system has been helping to make Swedish companies internationally competitive. Two Swedish government-backed organizations are working side by side to facilitate Swedish exports. The Swedish Export Credit Agency, EKN, offers AAA-rated guarantees for payments, while the Swedish Export Credit Corporation, SEK, provides attractive financial solutions. As a result, you might be entitled to a competitive financing package if your company chooses to buy Swedish products or services. Today, a new generation of Swedish companies are ready to break through into the global market. Digital services, smart cities, green technology, sustainability, and gaming are just some of the new areas of expertise flourishing within Swedish companies. EKN and SEK are ready to support them with our combined offer. This offer is available to you too.
Hi everyone, a warm welcome to you all calling in today. My name is Madeleine Strömberg and I work at Business Sweden in Stockholm and project manage the EPC program globally together with my colleagues from Team Sweden. Today I will be this event's moderator. And on behalf of the whole of Team Sweden, I wish you all a warm welcome to the Construction Summit for EMEA 2021. The EPC Alliance by Sweden is a collaboration between Team Sweden, global EPCs, Swedish suppliers and international banks that all work together to promote trade and investment between Sweden and the world. And this will be the topic and focus of today. We have many interesting and inspiring speakers here today. We will start with an introduction by core Team Sweden members of the EPC program, which is Business Sweden, the Swedish Export Credit Agency, EKN, and Swedish Export Credit Corporation, SEK. And then continue with one panel discussion in Istanbul, Turkey, followed by another panel discussion in Madrid, Spain. But the perhaps most important part of this event is the B2B meetings that will be held during the afternoon. So please make sure you have logged in and booked meetings through the EPC Alliance platform. We have sent out instructions and links previously, so check your email if you're not really sure how to do this. But let's kick off with a few words by Magnus Montan, the the CEO at Swedish Export Credit Corporation, SEK. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madeleine. Great to be here this morning. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you from Stockholm, a very dark and rainy Stockholm this morning. Hopefully the weather gods, wherever you are in the world, are kinder to you than what they are here in Sweden. So as Madeleine said, my name is Magnus Montan. I'm the CEO of Sweden this morning. So Team Sweden is a cooperation between different authorities, agencies, and includes EKN, the Swedish Export Credit Agencies responsible for giving out guarantees, Business Sweden, Swedfund, the government offices of Sweden, and us at SEK, the Swedish Export Credit Corporation, and we're responsible for providing finance. Sweden is a country with many innovative and world-leading companies that can participate in large infrastructure projects abroad. And we have identified that international EPCs are important for us to strengthen Swedish export, especially within the construction and infrastructure segments. Combining the EPC's local implementation capabilities with the Swedish companies' innovations and solution, and together with the Swedish export financing, results in what we believe is a very strong offering indeed. Also in Sweden, we are expanding our infrastructure rapidly and would welcome more international EPCs with their specific expertise coming to the Swedish market. The EPC Alliance by Sweden is a collaboration between us at Team Sweden, international EPCs, suppliers, and international banks. And we have the mission to work together to win and deliver infrastructure projects globally. With this in mind, the Swedish government has highlighted the importance of international EPCs in our official export and investment strategy. We see it as crucial to work with international EPCs, both on the export side, but also on the investment side into our country. Therefore, the EPC Alliance by Sweden is an initiative directed towards international turnkey contractors to both be introduced to the very competitive Swedish export credit system and also our world-class suppliers. We promote a sustainable infrastructure and have a special emphasis on green projects that address the climate change challenges. And we strongly believe that in this field, that together we can build a sustainable future. The EMEA region is very important for Swedish suppliers with many major international infrastructure projects. Many EPCs from this region are active globally, and we are through this EPC Alliance calling for a strategic partnership with all of you. I would also like to specifically mention Turkish, Spanish, and Portuguese EPCs. They stand out not for being only active in their own markets, but also being important players all around the world. Therefore, I'm particularly happy to welcome two panel discussions this morning that will be broadcasted from Istanbul and Madrid, respectively. So from me, once again, a warm welcome from me and the entire Team Sweden to this construction summit here today. I wish you really fruitful discussions and meetings throughout the day, in particular make use of these B2B opportunities that we'll have in the afternoon. Thank you very much and all the best to all of you.
Thank you, Magnus. Truly inspiring and important points that you highlight here. Next up is an introduction to Team Sweden and the EPC Alliance. And please write any questions you might have in the comment field for the YouTube channel. And you will do that by clicking open in YouTube on this video. And now I would like to welcome my Team Sweden colleagues. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. We're kicking off directly. Hans-Olof Rahman is my name. I'm working at, just change slide. I'm working at Business Sweden. Business Sweden is the Swedish trade and promotion agency. We have around 400 people around the world, 40 offices, and we have a small team sitting in Stockholm.
Good morning. My name is Maria Mattsson, and I work at EKN as a senior underwriter. And EKN is a government agency with the task of promoting Swedish exports. And we do so by covering the risk of non-payment in export transactions. EKN is AAA rated, which in effect means that together with SEK, we can offer very attractive financing.
And my name is Per Åkerlund, and I'm responsible for strategic partnership and relations at SEK, and I'm also deputy CEO. And I work very closely with the Team Sweden cooperation, and SEK's role in the export credit system is to be the bank providing the cash. And we finance the exporters, their clients or customers, and their sub-suppliers. We also have Swedfund, the Swedish Development Finance Institution in the Team Sweden cooperation. And we will come back a little later with more detailed information about Swedfund. So what we try to address here is to create a very, very good cooperation in order to be able to provide solutions for international infrastructure projects. And the players and stakeholders in that cooperation are the Swedish suppliers, obviously, the international EPCs who's building the projects, and international banks who are basically structuring the projects so that they are bankable. And then we have the Team Sweden who will also facilitate and make sure that it will be financed as well.
So what is our value proposition? To start with, for the commercial banks, what Team Sweden can offer is a very competitive Swedish offering. We have several sectors where we have very strong presence and world-class companies, and we will look more at these sectors later. We can offer AAA-rated, reliable, flexible, and competitive export credit system. And we also have a very strong support from the Swedish government, which is shown by all our Business Sweden's offices worldwide. We have embassies involved whenever needed. And we have a SIR system that can be very useful. And we seek strategic partnerships with strategic EPCs. And the reason is that today we have no Swedish EPCs active on the global market. And therefore we want to reach out to existing EPCs who are active globally within the infrastructure sector and work together. And we have some requirements. We want the EPCs to have ability to deliver turnkey projects, and they should have a strong presence in local markets. We want the EPCs to have an edge in sustainability. Sustainability is a key issue for us, and we place a lot of importance on it. But we also believe that Swedish export can contribute to achieving very high ENS standards. And we will talk a little more about this later. And also very important is that we want to see at least 30% of the contract value being Swedish content, which brings us to the benefits for the Swedish suppliers. This initiative can be very useful for the Swedish exporters and suppliers, and because it will help them get EPCs as strategic partners, it will expand their contact with the EPC network, and it will be a gate opener for new business opportunities. So in conclusion, through this initiative, there is competitive ECA-backed financing and world-class products.
We started this effort in mid-2019, and since then we have closed 1.5 billion euros in total value of projects. I will also say that you will see that figure to be doubled within 3 to 4 months, I would say. We basically have signed or are about to sign 5 new projects. And so it looks very promising. In total, we have 32 potential new infrastructure projects in the pipeline, with a value of almost 9 billion euros. So there is a lot to work on, and we hope that we together will win several of these projects.
All right. I think one thing is quite important here was Per was talking about. Our target is to close 5 transactions per year. So you have a lot of opportunity that we work on continuously here. And when we started the program, we identified that we have 3 areas which were particularly strong here. First, transportation, where we have sort of like railways, we have bus rapid transit, airport traffic management. The energy and power segment with a strong offering both when it comes to generation, but also electrification and all around that. And then finally, special constructions. And we are happy now that we have succeeded to get projects in all 3 areas here. On top of our like world-class product or solution companies, we also have really good service providers and engineering companies that we also would like to bring into the equation. And they can take a role as owner's engineer, and our colleagues here can finance them. And that is also quite an important issue here. Going forward, we obviously would like to find more projects in all sectors, especially power. There we have a couple that we're working on, but we think that we can do a little bit more there.
And like Maria was saying, we put a lot of effort in our cooperation in order to handle and transact the projects with ESG issues in focus. And that means that we basically follow the FC performance standards, which takes care of environmental issues, human rights, and labor rights. And then obviously we promote business in sustainable and lending in poor countries, and there is obviously that we also always want to avoid tax evasion, and we have no tolerance at all for corruption and money laundering in the projects that we are financing. Some reference cases. This one we did a couple of years ago, but I would like to address the Tanzania railway project, which was 2 phases out of a total of 5 phases. So there are 3 more phases to come. We did a cooperation here with the Danes and the Swiss, and we really set a high standard. We really increased the standard from a sustainability point of view in this project, and there is a good base now for the 3 remaining parts or phases of this project. And since then, I can say that we have already closed 1 big railway project in Western Africa, and we are about to close 2 more railway projects in the few coming months. So railway has been very, very active.
Yes, we have also done projects within roads, and we recently closed 2 transactions in West Africa that involved road rehabilitation and upgrading. And the projects will lead to better safety and better environment. And by providing our support and attractive financing offer to these projects, we enabled Swedish exports from several Swedish suppliers, both large and small. And these exports would probably otherwise not have taken place. So it was very important. And it shows that our value proposition is a win-win for all involved parties and a great opportunity for us to promote Swedish exports.
And we're talking about another project. I think this is quite interesting in the sense that it's a solar project. We don't really have any solar panel suppliers here, but we succeeded to get together a transaction with other ECAs that can support it. And so we can cooperate as Per was mentioning about the Tanzania project. We can cooperate here from a Swedish export credit perspective with other institutes as well. This was a solar project. What we are happy about, first of all, solar, green energy, improving the life of people on the ground here. We could move away from diesel generators in some of the smaller villages and provide clean and green energy here. But also from a Swedish supply point of view, we had both Hitachi Energy. I can inform you that Hitachi ABB is called Hitachi Energy now. they had a big chunk of the supply there for the electrification. And then Elof Hansson came in and coordinated a number of Swedish suppliers. So we got another 10 plus suppliers that could be included here and supply equipment. So that was actually quite a nice little setup that we succeeded to do here. I will go over and do a little bit of a promotion for one other instrument that we have not talked about before. It's our sister organization, Swedfund. They have an instrument called the Project Accelerator. And you can say that it's a catalytic instrument for getting projects off the ground and get them bankable. And as a grant, they can finance the pre-studies, feasibility studies, SIA, these kind of things. And it's very beneficial because it's a grant. If you're looking at the structure of it, is that, first of all, we are not owning the result of that work. It's actually the project owner, the customer, it could be utility or whatever. But Swedfund is procuring a consultant that can go in and do this kind of work here and producing a report or a study. We target here the DAC list, column 1 to 3. We can also do in column 4 for climate project. And it's a couple of things that is needed here. We're going for public entities, not private. And of course, then it's a high sustainability impact. Then it's easy to take a positive decision. But this is a good way to drive project forward if we see that we're lacking financing for the feasibility studies. And they can be maybe around €1 million $. I just want to mention here our partners here that is attending today. Some of the Swedish supply that you can set up meetings with. Hitachi Energy, Scania, Dynapack, NKT, Systemair, Elof Hansson, Volvo, and Hexicon. They are available here for business-to-business meeting in the afternoon. All right, thank you very much. And we hand over here to Madeleine to take it forward.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you for a great presentation here. And once again, I would like to remind you to book meetings through the EPC Alliance platform to secure these matchmaking opportunities with preferred partners during the afternoon. And as Magnus mentioned and highlighted earlier here today, the EMEA region is very important for Swedish suppliers to major infrastructure, to major international infrastructure projects. And many EPCs from this region are active globally. And we are to this EPC Alliance calling for a strategic partnership. However, Turkish, Spanish, and Portuguese EPCs stand out by not only being active on their home market, but also and not only either on
For more than 200 years, electricity has been transforming lives, societies, and businesses around the world.
I am happy to welcome 2 panel discussions today from Istanbul.
We have been at the forefront of this journey. Our people, our expertise, our technologies have increased access to electricity from major cities to remote places. And now, in the 21st century, the energy landscape continues to evolve, driven by climate targets and changing lifestyles. A massive shift to wind and solar and the electrification of transportation, industries, and buildings. Electricity will be the backbone of the entire energy system. We are evolving the system to be more flexible and resilient, safe and secure, carbon neutral. And we are evolving too. Hitachi Energy.
Hi, everyone. We do apologize for the technical issues here. We are a bit ahead of schedule, a few minutes here. But once again, I would like to hand over the word to our Istanbul studio, where we will have the panel discussion right now. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the Swedish Palace in Istanbul. This year we're celebrating the 150th anniversary of the palace, but in fact Sweden has been present here since 1757. And all this time we've been creating opportunities for Swedish and Turkish companies, individuals, organizations to meet and to find joint projects. And in this spirit I'm very happy to welcome this first panel of the Construction Summit. Please, Eddie.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you to our colleagues in Stockholm. Welcome again to this Istanbul panel at the Construction Summit EMEA 2021. My name is Edin Erkocevic, and I'm the Swedish Trade and Invest Commissioner in Turkey and Construction Summit Lead at Business Sweden. I will be moderating the Istanbul panel today. Before I present our panelists here today, I would like to remind you to book your B2B meetings via your profile at our website or via the B2Match application. In the panel here in Istanbul today, we have two Turkish EPCs, Yapı Merkezi and Doğuş Construction, two Swedish suppliers, Volvo Group and Elof Hansson, and a financial institution, Standard Chartered Bank. I would now like to invite you all to shortly present yourselves and your organizations. Please, Bashar Bey.
Thank you. My name is Bashar Arıoğlu. I'm the chairman of the Turkish EPC contracting company, Yapı Merkezi. I'm also vice chairman of the Turkish Contractors Association. So our company is working very heavily in Africa, and recently we are getting some projects in Europe. About 85% of our work is outside of Turkey. So we are a very international company, and we are looking to expand our borders. And we have also very good very long history of cooperating with Swedish companies and Swedish suppliers.
Thank you. Thank you, Bashar Bey. Björn?
Hi, my name is Björn Olausson. I'm president for Elof Hansson International, which is a part of Elof Hansson Group, a 125 years old Swedish trading house, almost as old as this building then. And we have three business divisions. One is the trade division. We trade in forest commodities, pulp, paper, secondary fiber, plywood, timber, so on and so forth. We have a real estate department. We own a few commercial properties in Gothenburg, and we work with property development as well. And we have a more industrial division, which I'm heading, and we work mainly with supply of equipment to the pulp and paper industry, but also, and this is the reason why I'm here, of course, working with international contractors in large infrastructure projects.
Thank you. Özlem?
Hi, my name is Özlem Evrim Ergun. I work as an executive director in Standard Chartered Bank Turkey, covering major and large Turkish corporates in client coverage, and we are also closely working with various construction companies in our footprint countries as well as in Turkey.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gökhan Bingöl, and I'm working as market director in Volvo Trucks and responsible for the Market East, Middle East and Turkey hub. So as Volvo Group, we're many years in the sector, and we are a good solution partner for our customers on the construction side.
Thank you very much. And last but not least.
Hello, my name is Kamil Azalp. I am the CFO of Doğuş Construction. Doğuş Construction is one of the biggest EPC contractor in Turkey. We have been established in 1951, and up to now we have finished more than 250 mega projects, infrastructure projects and superstructure projects in all over the world. And currently we have operations and offices in 14 countries. And as Mr. Bashar said, we are now trying to be active in Africa and all other countries now. And also, we are the beginning of the first company of the Doğuş Group. Doğuş Group is one of the biggest group in Turkey, more than 20,000 employers. And we have operations in 27 countries and 4 continents. And the total turnover of our group is more than $5 billion. Thank you very much again for your kind invitation.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming and for being part of this panel. I thought maybe as an introduction, we would start talking a little bit about the outlook for the construction sector. We have had some turbulent years in the past 2 years with the pandemic that has changed everything. And I wanted to hear a little bit your thoughts. What do you think is the outlook of the construction sector in EMEA in the coming years? First in general, and then we will go into more details.
If you let me start on that, the pandemic caused a big slump in the demand and the business activities. And in order to come out of this economic slump, many countries are planning to do infrastructure investments. And Turkey is no less. In Turkey, there's many projects are coming up. But as I look forward, I see that now many countries are aware of the threat the global warming is posing to our world, and now there needs to be a lot of infrastructure investments also to deal with this issue. So coupled together with the effects of the pandemic and the outlook for the global warming, we should expect huge infrastructure investments in many parts of the world. Of course, one of the key questions is how to finance these investments, and another question is how to do this sustainably so we don't hurt the environment any further. So some challenging times will be, but also a lot of opportunities, I think.
From the financial point of view, how do you see the outlook in the EMEA region when it comes to the construction sector?
We also expect a rebound in the construction projects. We are aware that due to COVID in Africa, also one of the major regions we cover, we have seen various projects that have been postponed. But now, there was some initiatives taken by IMF and World Bank, such as debt service suspension in order to mitigate this shock. But now we see that African markets have almost stabilized, and we see that both financial markets and loan markets pricing has almost come back to the pre-COVID levels. For this reason, we also expect new projects to restart going forward. And also for emerging markets, construction is critical segment, as also those investments support the economic boost, the economic growth rate. So this is why construction will always be important.
As suppliers, what do you see?
Well, there is a huge development now post-COVID. We have also seen some delays in ongoing projects. We actually started a project in Latin America, which was put on hold due to the country suffered financially in the COVID-19 pandemic. Looking at the developments in Sweden, I can just open my window and see 4 large constructions going on across the river. The tallest building in Northern Europe is now being constructed. Elaf Hansson, we are also developing a new commercial property in Gothenburg. But I agree that the challenges will be financial, to find financial securities for the projects. There is no lack of projects as such, no lack of capital, but lack of financial structure.
From your side, what is your forecast?
It's easy to judge on that, and I totally agree with the comments here, because we're receiving huge demand, and the postponed projects are coming back, and also it's very obvious that the demand is booming right now. So as suppliers, we can easily say that there is a market growing on the construction side.
Maybe as a finance guy, I can mention about some figures. Still, how will the COVID-19 will affect the construction industries? There are still risks regarding with the pandemic. But when we looked at the numbers for the current year, it is expected that the global construction sector will increase around 6.3% this year. And except Latin America, all the regions will catch up their 2019 figures and pass in 2022. And Latin America is expected to pass the 2019 figures in 2023. So, as it said, there are a lot of projects now trying to begin, and the governments are trying to make the tenders for the waiting projects. And in the market, from the construction firms, from the financial institutions, and from the government side, there is a very huge appetite for the construction industry to begin all the waiting projects.
In EMEA, we also have different regions within EMEA umbrella region. So we have Europe, we have Africa, we have Middle East. How do you see, what differences do you see in these regions in the outlook for the coming years?
Actually, maybe if we can talk about the different parts of the EMEA, if you look at the Western Europe, this year there will be an increase in the market. After the opening of the market, the construction business began increase, and it will pass the 2020 figures this year. And as I said, in 2020 they will catch up the 2019 figures. And when we talk about the construction size, in 2022, the number is expected for the construction business is around $2.2 trillion for the Western Europe. And it is expected that the amount will increase to $2.5 trillion in this market. And of course, the biggest countries in this region are United Kingdom, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, like that. But the fourth country is take the 60% of the total construction business in this region. So I think that in these countries there will be huge construction progress in the upcoming years. For the Eastern Europe, of course, some countries didn't stop. They tried to use the European Union funds, like Romania. But in 2021, there will be also increase in the Eastern Europe market. And the biggest countries in this region are Russia, Turkey, and Poland. And they took all the construction value of 70% of the total area. And the construction output values around, for 2022, it will be around $710 billion. And to 2025, it will increase to $800 billion. So Russia, Poland, Turkey will act as the main countries in this region, and most probably Turkey will pass Russia until the 2025. So I don't know if you want me to go on the other regions, but I don't want to take so much time. Maybe later.
But maybe somebody has some input on Africa. What do you see is happening on the African continent? What is the outlook?
Yes, I mean, to start with Middle East, maybe we can say a few words about the rising oil prices. This is going to definitely give an impetus for the construction business, because in the Middle East and North Africa, the contracting volume is very sensitive to the oil price. As soon as we have some increase, the market follows this. And in sub-Saharan Africa, some countries have the resources, oil and gas. So they are going to have a boost, I think, in the market. Today, the rising gas prices and oil prices, this will give a boost to these countries. And as you said just now, they are not short of projects. They need everything. And especially in my company's business in transportation and railways, there is a lot of need for investment. And we are getting a lot of prospects for potential projects in the sub-Saharan Africa in this rail business. Yeah. So I think the outlook is looking good. We have to find ways to finance.
Yeah, yeah. And Gökhan, you also cover a large region. What do you see the outlook here for the coming years?
As the oil prices are increasing, also Middle East and North Africa is more binded with that, of course. But on the other hand, Africa, we see it's growing, and it can only go one direction. There is huge possibilities and opportunities in Africa. So also we feel that it's coming. In the near future, we will see a lot of projects coming from Africa, and there I think there is a great opportunity for the EPCs from Turkey in that region.
And if you compare these different regions, can you see what type of projects will happen in Africa? What type of projects in Europe and Middle East, for example? Do you see any differentiation there?
In Europe, there is a lot of, let's say, refurbishing and rehabilitation kind of projects are coming. And I mean, for example, in the UK, they invented the railways, but the railway system is really behind compared to the rest of Europe, and they have to do a lot of investment in the high-speed rail, for example. And there is a lot of budget for refurbishing railways and existing infrastructure in Europe. Of course, when you look into Africa, then there is the new greenfield investments are there mostly. And there also, in any kind of construction segment, we see there is a demand in water, environment, in healthcare, in and housing, roads and transportation, even airports. There is a huge need. So, as we said, there is no shortage of projects, but yeah.
I would say in Africa, it's more of projects of the kind that we take for granted in the Western world, as you pointed out. Medical, electrification, so on and so forth. While in Europe, it's more to develop and maintain and modernize the equipment and infrastructure that we already have in place.
I mean, we talked about, okay, there's a lot of projects, but lack of financing. Do you think export credit financing is more relevant in some regions than in others?
Mm-hmm. Of course. I mean, Africa, for example. Yeah. Middle East, they are not so interested in the export financing. Mm-hmm. But anywhere in Africa, they are really desperate for the ECA financing because of its lower cost and longer term, makes it more affordable for the countries, and makes them do more with, more today rather than tomorrow. So as the needs are today, it's good that they can do something today. So ECAs give them this opportunity with their lower cost and longer term.
And in Africa, as you can guess, most of the products cannot be produced. So they have to export most of the things from outside. So the ECA financing definitely give the definition or help them to finance and make the projects occur.
Anything that you see also more demand in Africa, or maybe compared to Eastern Europe? How is the situation there?
I mean, ECA is very critical for the projects that we finance in Africa. I mean, I don't know if I should go into EKN in details right now, or... Okay, I mean, what I can say is, with ECAN we have excellent experience, and there are a lot of advantages of ECA financing. The most important part is the credit rating of Sweden, AAA, one of I think 13 countries, one of the top 13 countries who have that rating. So it is the cost benefit is the most important one, which creates a competitive pricing as well as a longer tenor. The process may take longer, but the flexibility and client orientation, and when we weigh the benefits and the challenges, definitely ECA financing and ECAN and SEK financing overweighs the challenges on ECA financing. So we have completed various financing in Africa. Even this year, we have very recently closed this Ghana Temale project together, and so we see that ECA financing is still active, and it will continue to be a major source in financing.
What would you say, what are the biggest challenges when working with ECA?
I mean, collaboration is not easy when it comes to multilateral. When the strong relations, the experience for the timely execution is very critical and important. So the main challenges may be those parts, the process. But as I said, the benefits are more, and the companies that we work with in the financing, the governments we work with, we always achieve those challenges and successfully execute those projects.
To the EPCs first, what is your experience with ECA financing, and in particular with Swedish one?
We have used ECA for our machinery equipment buyings and for some of our infrastructure projects up to now, especially the metro project in Istanbul and the tram project in Istanbul. And according with the EKN experience, when taking the loan for the name of the Istanbul municipality, they helped a lot, and the process was very quick. And after at the loan usage part, we have taken all the support regarding with how the process will go on, and they help regarding with the Sweden suppliers also to fulfill the content of the Swedish part, Sweden part, yeah.
Bashar Bey, you have several projects with Swedish financing. What is your experience?
We had very good experience in our recent projects in Ethiopia and in Tanzania. My experience with the Swedish ECAs go back to 1980s, 90s with the Istanbul Metro and the Izmir Metro. But the recent experiences are more significant, I think, and more important, in my opinion, because they are huge projects and African projects, and the Swedish ECAs have a good portion for the local content and also the third country, so the flexibility is there to structure the procurement process. And we had a very smooth working relationship. And also, what's more important, our customers are very happy with working with the Sweden ECAs because the lower cost. This is really the most important aspect, in my opinion. And it makes us more competitive and our customer more happy when we work with the Swedish ECAs. And also, Sweden, in Sweden we work with our solution provider, Bombardier. I mean, now they are Alstom, I think, but it's the same company we have been working with that started from ASEA Traction, came all the way through to now Alstom, but it's the same company basically, and they produce very high quality, very good state-of-the-art signaling system that we are very proud to offer our customers.
As a supplier, what is your experience working with Swedish financing?
Want to start?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. Well, as already pointed out, Sweden has a very competitive export credit financing system in place. EKN have several advantages. AAA rated, of course, which is a good security for the lender. But also EKN typically don't apply country limits, which means that they can take on large projects by themselves. They are usually also one of the last ECAs to close on a country. So their job is to take the risk to assist the Swedish suppliers to export. And of course the combination with SEK, which is the Swedish Export Cooperation Bank, they can capitalize or fund the project at very attractive rates, especially based on the CIR rate. And that combination makes the Swedish export credit system very competitive. Then of course there are challenges with the long and formal process, but again, sometimes that's the only option available for some African countries. Somebody needs to take the risk, and EKN and SEK are prepared to do that in most countries.
Maybe, Björn, you can elaborate on the role of Elof Hansson in a project, in an export financing project.
Yeah.
How do you actually support? I mean, we know Volvo, what kind of products you bring, but...
Sure. Glad that you asked. Yeah. We are today involved in quite a wide range of projects where we support international EPC contractors with the Swedish content. Sometimes it's fairly easy for a contractor to find Swedish content if it's sufficient with Alstom, Bombardier or Volvo, or a combination of those companies that are used to export to basically any country and are used to sign international complex contracts. Then it's fine. Our services might not be needed. But in many projects, it's a huge challenge to find a 30% Swedish content. So today we are involved in a solar energy project in Angola. We are involved in a railway project in Ghana, actually, recently published. And we support the EPC contractors with the Swedish content. So we act as a supply chain manager in Sweden. And Sweden has a wide range of export-driven companies. We've been involved in agriculture and dairy project, as I said, solar energy, railway, water treatment, water distribution, and medical project. We are also involved in a hospital project, also in Ghana, where we assist the EPC contractor with the Swedish content. So we can assist basically in any type of project as long as it's sustainable. We are very picky with following the UN Agenda 2030. But again, Sweden has a wide range of suppliers and a lot to offer. And we are here to support the EPC contractors with the Swedish content.
I mean, so just to repeat, I think we have heard that from Stockholm also before, 30% Swedish content for a project. Yep. And Elof Hansson, you basically, if you don't reach the 30%, Elof Hansson supports to actually gather smaller companies in that. Has content been an issue in projects when you do projects with ECAs in general, with other ECAs?
Actually, currently now we follow a lot of projects in Sub-Saharan Africa and in other countries, and we try to give a competitive financial offer to the governments of the related countries. Maybe also it will be better to mention about the last OECD changes. With the latest changes, the local content increased up to 50%. And now currently this helps us when trying to find a finance solution to increase the export ECA credit portion within the total finance package. So for the projects now we follow, we do not face any problem for fulfilling the minimum requirement of the Sweden content. And we see their support when giving the offers. They are very quick. They return us very quickly. So currently, for the projects we follow, we don't face any problem regarding with fulfilling the Swedish content.
To support that, I mean, currently we have various strong pipeline projects with EKN and SEK, especially in construction sector in both Turkey and in Africa. So it also sort of reflects to the first question you have raised on the outlook of the construction sector, I think, which is an evidence how we have built the pipeline together.
I mean, Gökhan, Volvo, you are a global group. You produce in various countries. How does that affect the Swedish content?
Yeah, first of all, to my experience, I've seen that it's very easy and smooth process we have because we have a customer financing department within Volvo, and they have extremely good relationship and close relationship to EKN, which gives us a great benefit for to be able to provide the financial solution to our customers. And when it comes to our network, also we have the widest network within Middle East and Africa, I can say. We are present in 55 countries out of 71, and that also gives a great advantage and benefit to our customers to get the job done. So we see it as a whole process, and starting from financing to the end of the project, and we tailor-made the products. And I can say that for the toughest construction sites, we have the highest technology and robust trucks and the construction equipment. So this is the full package that we're trying to provide to our customers as a total solution.
That would be my question. Why would an EPC choose Volvo Group or another Swedish company to work with?
Yeah, I mean, so we are, of course, the Swedish companies in general, the quality is very important, but our core values, as you know, this is quality, safety, and environmental care. Now we are focusing on sustainability as well. With these aspects, I think it will add a lot of advantage to the EPCs in their tenders and in their projects, I would say.
And basically, you are positioning yourself more as a partner than as a seller.
Absolutely.
So
we always use that term as a business partner, the best business partner for our customers.
Maybe it will be also important to mention that Sweden content calculation is much more flexible than the other ECAs, because the production do not have to be within the Sweden. For example, as we talk about Volvo, from any production facility by any country, it will be accepted as Swedish content. And this is also very important nowadays when we think about the transportation problems and, of course,
supply problems,
something like that, yeah.
Good. Which brings us a little bit to the question, why Swedish suppliers, but why Turkish EPCs? I mean, I have some short facts here. On the ENR's top list of world's top 250 international companies doing international construction projects, we can find 44 Turkish construction companies. And about 4 to 5% of the pre-pandemic turnover in international projects belong to Turkish companies. So this is, of course, also the reason why we are here in Istanbul today. So what would you say in general, what is the Turkish EPC's position internationally in infrastructure projects?
If I may start on that question, I'm a member of the Turkish Contractors Association, which has evolved itself into an elite group of contractors. We represent the best companies in the construction business in Turkey. And a lot of our members are the international contractors, and those 44 companies that are in the ENR list. Turkish contractors have really managed to become international and to project the experiences that they have gained in the infrastructure projects that they have done in Turkey, and they are able to project this into other countries, especially countries where it is very tough to work in, like in the Middle East, in the North Africa, in the Sub-Saharan Africa. Tough meaning there is not enough infrastructure. Many times when you go there, you are the first one to go there, and you bring the electricity, you bring the water, you bring the dormitories, and you set up sometimes in very hot, sometimes in very cold places, and you try to bring the civilization to the place that you are going. It is very exciting work, but also Turkish contractors have become very good at this, very adept and very experienced. And in the recent years, Turkish contractors have also been using international financial tools in the projects in Turkey and abroad. And we are now very proficient in applying the environmental principles, the sustainability principles, the safety of the workforce, and the high qualities that may be required in really challenging jobs. Our members are doing tunnels, our members are doing bridges, and some of these projects are world record breaking. Some dams in Turkey are really the tallest dam, the largest capacity dam, the longest tunnel, the widest tunnel, the longest bridge. You know, Turkish contractors have been challenging the technologies, but also working in very tough environments and delivering projects successfully and on time and within budget. This is also good for the ECA principles, because the ECAs, they want to see their projects completed. They want to see their projects completed in good quality and on time. So I think Turkish EPCs are a good vehicle to bring the Swedish products, technological products, or even commodity type products, to bring them to the African markets. So it's a very good match, I think.
From your point of view, from Doğuş Construction, how do you see the Turkish EPCs and Doğuş itself?
Actually, I can say that Turkish contractor has courage when we compare with the other countries' construction companies. For that reason, we can compete with the Chinese contractors all over the world. Because of the shrinking at the construction business, now some Turkish construction companies now look for projects in Latin America, in Asia Pacific, and all over the world, let's say. We also follow a lot of projects in different parts of the world. For example, we just gave an offer in Pasya, Philippines 2 weeks ago, and we are very we have a chance to win the tender, and I think this will open a new market to the Turkish construction companies also. We also hear that a lot of Turkish construction companies now looking for projects in Latin America, and for example, up to now we haven't looked any project in Sub-Saharan Africa, but currently we follow a lot of projects. Why we are looking Sub-Saharan Africa? As Mr. Bashar said, ECA credit financing has opened a large market to us. So with the help of the financing, I think we can compete with the other Chinese, let's say, and other contractors in Sub-Saharan Africa, and won a lot of projects there. What I see, maybe when we look at the instruction in total, Turkish construction may take not a huge part in terms of number, but in the upcoming days, I believe that Turkish constructors will be more active in other countries.
Well, Björn, Gökhan, what do you see?
And also, I want to add something. As Mr. Bashar said, with the new investments and new projects, our pre-qualification are increased, Turkish constructors.
Yeah.
So before we need some other construction companies in the developed countries, but currently now we can give offer by ourselves. This will also help Turkish construction companies to expand their market.
Yeah. What is the perception of Turkish EPCs, let's say, from a supplier point of view, from a financing point of view?
We have completed a huge project in Turkey, which is the third airport in Istanbul Airport. And we have many customers and construction companies here in Turkey for many years. And I think it's a very easy to say that they are growing and they are becoming more and more professional every day. And the quality that they do in the site is extremely good. So I can say that we are going to be more preferred by the customers each and every day in the future as well.
Well, I can say it's probably not a coincidence that we are sitting here in Istanbul, having this panel discussion, promoting the Swedish export credit system to Turkish EPC contractors. There are Turkish EPC contractors doing projects in Sweden as well. And the latest examples were Mr. Bashar mentioned in Africa with Swedish suppliers, and the Swedish Export Credit Agency in rail project has gained a lot of attraction in Sweden. And there are impressive numbers, as you pointed out before, with the Turkish EPC contractors. Now we have also seen interest from EPC contractors from China trying to find financing from the ECAs.
They want to use
they want to use, we've seen Chinese EPC contractors trying to tap into the Swedish export credit system as well. So I think as long as we can continue to cooperate with the Turkish contractors, we can do a lot of good projects together.
Now, when I think I've heard 2 times Chinese contractors. How do you see on the competition from the East?
I mean, we are facing a lot of competition from that direction. And sometimes it is unpredictable because they may surprise us with a low price. But generally, we find that we are able to win projects against the Chinese competition. Our prices are sometimes better than theirs, and sometimes we are preferred for one reason or another. But in general, the customers are looking for economy and low prices, and being competitive and having low prices is a good value offering to your customers. So Turkish contractors, I think, are able to make a good competition against the Eastern competitors that we have.
Yeah. And Swedish technology suppliers, how do we see the competition from the East?
There's always competition from everywhere, not only from the East. So we will face competition, every time, and it's good. Competition also drives business and it drives development. What we've seen also that historically China has gained a lot of projects due to its capability of financing the projects. But we've also seen a tendency that the customers, the African nations, they are not that keen on that type of financing anymore, because usually the interest rates are quite high, not competitive compared to ECA financing. And there are also other conditions attached to the financing, which is not really positive for the countries as such. We have also seen that the Western type ECAs, they are more prone to capacity building, not just trying to build a project, but also to educate and transfer knowledge and capabilities to the customers, which is, I would say, as important as actually building the project. So I think long-term wise, the EPC contractors from Turkey and Europe should be in a strong position.
Yeah, I think that capacity building element is very important for our customers, because they want to see their own companies coming up. And whenever we go to a new country, we create new suppliers, we bring their standards up, and we put our people to manage their quality. And they manage. I mean, we have very good results with local production and local capabilities. We help our subcontractors, local subcontractors, buy some equipment, for example, and enlarge their capacities. there. It's always good to have this dialogue, and also the dialogue with the local populations. If you have their own people working with you, then they are more receptive, more supportive, and everything works much better. So it's not like we are coming in to invade the country, but we are coming in to work together with the country to realize the project.
And I mean, this is also one of the, let's say, cornerstones of Swedish export financing, capacity building, as well as sustainability, which brings us to the sustainability topic, and its importance in both construction projects in general, but also in Swedish export financing. What do you see are the effects of sustainability measures and the green transformation on the construction sector in general?
Well, I mean, thank you for bringing this up. It is very critical, important for us. It's top of our agenda. So maybe I can share the sustainability goals of our bank as a financial lender to show the importance of sustainability in the market. So yes, we are committed to sustainable investing, and we're living our Here for Good brand promise. We are committed to reach zero carbon emission from our operations by 2030. And having said that, we also take a stand on accelerating net zero from emerging markets to reduce, by helping emerging markets in our footprint to reduce their carbon emissions as fast as possible. But this is without slowing the development. It is just, it's putting the world in a sustainable path by 2050. On top of that, back in 2018, we have already committed not to fund any new thermal coal mines or coal-fired power plants in any location. And I should also add that Standard Chartered AG has signed a voluntary commitment to align its investment and credit portfolio with the objectives of Paris Climate Change Convention. So in order to support all these commitments, the latest major projects we have financed in Africa, they are all the construction projects through ECA financing we have financed. They are all either in alignment with United Nations Sustainability Development Goals or to support those countries to reach their own ESG targets.
You mentioned Volvo Group has sustainability as one of the strategy goals. How do you see that affecting the construction sector?
First of all, I would like to say that the full range of our trucks, for instance, they are going to be electrified. We launched them, and next year we're starting to sell the electrified units. Of course, in Europe, it will be the first markets that we are going to provide these electrified units because of infrastructure and so on. But of course, in coming future, we are going to be able to offer the units or the electrified trucks in Middle East and also Africa. But of course, it will take more time. But in Europe, for sure, we are going to see our electrified units are going to be used in the construction side.
Bashar, you mentioned the Turkish EPCs. You also work a lot with sustainability. Do you think this could be a good match, Swedish technology, Turkish EPCs, sustainability?
Of course. I mean, you have to make sure that your supply chain is also abiding by the same rules of sustainability as you are trying to implement. So it's a whole value chain that needs to be sustainable. So starting with suppliers and subcontractors which are keeping themselves to very high sustainability standards, it's a big step forward, and also I think it's a sort of competitiveness, because it gives you an edge to be more sustainable more easily, so that's already a competitive edge.
Maybe I can add some thing related with the energy investments in the world. energy investment will take a huge part at global infrastructure segment in the upcoming days. This year, renewable energy investment will pass oil and gas investment, especially if we divide the upstream and downstream of oil and gas, of course. And in the upcoming years, with the cost decrease for the solar, wind, there will be a huge investment regarding with this types of energy production. And of course, the countries are trying to change their production combination of energy in the upcoming years. But of course, nowadays, every country is in the Europe were thinking of to stop the nuclear power generation plants in the upcoming years. But as you read from the follow from the market, currently there is a coal and gas crisis in the world. And of course, this will not decrease the investment for the renewable energy investment, but I think European countries will rethink to stop the nuclear powers for a longer tenor in the upcoming years. And for the whole region, in EMEA region, I think that there will be much more nuclear power plants investments in the upcoming years.
Yeah, let's see. I think there will be a political discussion there as well. We are running out of time. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting discussion. I mean, we covered a lot of topics. We said that there is going to be hopefully a boom in the construction industry and the construction sector in both in all of EMEA, especially in Europe and in Africa, due to different reasons. And we've heard some good experiences with Swedish export credit financing, and we have also heard that financing is going to be one of the most important factors when it comes to infrastructure projects or construction projects, especially in Africa. And we have also heard from Swedish suppliers that there is a big amount of flexibility when it comes both to Swedish content, but also with working with Swedish suppliers covering huge regions such as Volvo, but also being able to work with smaller Swedish companies with support of Olof Hansson. Thank you very much again. I would like to remind all of our viewers to book B2B meetings via the website and via the application. So you will have possibility to book B2B meetings with some of us in the afternoon.
Hello, I'm going to show you how to book B2B meetings on Digital Construction Summit platform. First, log in, then go to My Availability section and activate your availability. This means that you're available for B2B meetings on October 20th. If you don't do that, you cannot request a meeting from participants, and participants cannot request a meeting from you. To request a meeting from someone, go to Participants section and choose Matchmaking on the left panel to see participants who are available for B2B meetings. Scroll down the page, and if you see someone you would like to have a meeting with, click Request Meeting. You can add a message to your request. That person is going to receive your request immediately and get back to you with a meeting time. You can follow this process on Meetings section. Once they accepted the meeting request and chose a time, you will see that here. Here you can see meeting requests sent to you and accept them as well. When it is the meeting time, you can directly connect from Meetings page. You do not have to go anywhere else. That is it. We hope you have a pleasant experience.
Thank you very much from Istanbul, and thank you very much to the Consul General for hosting us in the Swedish Palace here in Istanbul. Thank you and bye.
At Volvo Construction Equipment, we are driven by the idea that through imagination, hard work and technological innovation, we will lead the way towards developing a world that is cleaner, smarter and more connected. With the global construction industry as our arena, We've been turning this belief into reality since 1832. We are part of Volvo Group. Our network stretches across the globe, representing Volvo in markets worldwide. As a partner, we provide the equipment and services to maximize our customers' business and make it run smoothly. Trust and passion are the foundation of our company culture. Our core values, quality, safety, and environmental care always come first when creating solutions for a better tomorrow. We are pioneers. We explore new possibilities and technologies to drive change for a better tomorrow. We believe in a sustainable future, and with the global construction industry as our arena, we work together with our customers to turn this belief into reality. For people everywhere. This is our purpose. We live and breathe it every day, because this is what it takes to build the world we want to live in.
You don't even know it's there. Just something in the air. Something that makes you feel strong, inspired, and free. You don't know it's there, but you would if it wasn't. Ventilation changes everything. It brings out the power in people. So, what's the secret? Nothing, really. Just fresh air, ideal temperature, and balanced humidity. It's simple, because we make it simple. That's what we do. We simplify, we guide, and we are by your side. We turn complex systems into easy product solutions and make you shine. Our air handling unit, Geniox, is one example, designed to run with the lowest possible energy consumption with the highest quality and control. It's intelligent and created for the future. Maybe it's our Swedish heritage, but we really care for the environment, for energy efficiency, and for fresh air. You won't even know it's there, but it changes everything.
Hi, we are back live in the Stockholm studio. Thank you for a really interesting panel discussion over in Istanbul, Turkey. I would also like to remind you to please accept or reject pending requests for meetings during the afternoon. And also, please ask any questions you might have in the chat as well on YouTube. And with that, I would like to hand over the word to our panel discussion in Madrid, Spain. Over to you.
Hi, and welcome to this year's Construction Summit and the panel discussion from the Swedish Embassy here in Madrid. My name is Samira Grilin Alalou, and I am the Trade and Invest Commissioner to Spain, and I'm also the Country Manager to Spain and Portugal for Business Sweden. So I have a task for these coming 45 minutes, and this is to guide you through some really interesting discussions about the construction industry that we will have from some global Spanish, Portuguese, and Swedish companies. And they truly know this business, what the challenges are, what are the opportunities, and will we ever be able to stop talking about this pandemic? Well, I'm hoping that this conversation today will be forward-focusing, and we will be looking ahead to what the future looks like for the construction sector in EMEA. And of course, how can we cooperate better between us? Well, I'm very happy to share this room with a group of very talented individuals, and I would like to welcome you all for taking your time to come in here and to participating in this panel.
Thank you.
And for you, let me introduce you to the panelists. First, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Alfonso Sanchez, Head of Business Development Europe at Iridium. And Iridium, for those of you who doesn't know, is the investment arm of the ACS Group, a leading international infrastructure company with over 182,000 employees worldwide. They have a presence in over 67 countries and an annual turnover in 2020 of approximately 35 billion euros. Iridium has over 45 years of experience, and they bring a truly solid track record of technical, financial, and management excellence by developing more than 100 projects globally. So, quite impressive. And Mr. Alfonso Sanchez himself, you've been head of business development for Europe since 2020, and before that you spent almost 8 years with Iridium in Canada.
Yeah.
Very much welcome.
Thank you very much.
And then we have next panelist, Mr. Gabriel Moreira. And you are the Managing Director for JT & Polo, which is an infrastructure and development and also financing advisory house with a focus on emerging markets.
Right.
And your focus is to support exporters by adding financing solutions such as EPC structuring finance to your clients. And by doing this, you increase their competitiveness in the market. And Gabriel, you have more than 15 years of experience with this, and your particular focus is on the sub-Saharan Africa. And then, so welcome to you as well.
Thank you very much, Samir. Thank you.
And last, but definitely not least, we have Mr. Marco Simões, Managing Director for System Air Portugal.
Yes.
Welcome to you.
Thank you.
And for those of you who don't know, System Air is a leading Swedish ventilation company with operations in over 54 countries on all continents. And System Air has proudly reported an operating profit every year since 1974, when the company was founded. And what does System Air do? Well, they're very important. They help to improve the indoor climate with the help of energy efficient and sustainable products that reduce carbon dioxide emissions. So very important work these days.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And you, Marco, you joined the company in 2005, and you
Yes.
are the managing director for all of this Portuguese-speaking countries.
Exactly.
Portugal, for example, Brazil, of course, and Angola, among some others. So again, welcome to you as well.
Thank you, Samira. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, enough about me and me talking. I would like to hear from our panelists. So I say we will go ahead and start this discussion. So I think we'll start just to briefly look backwards a little bit to this year and what it has been. It's been, well, even more than a year and a half of a pandemic that definitely has affected us all. But we'll start with that a little bit, but then I want this to be a forward-looking discussion where we talk about the future and collaborations in this region. So how do you think the post-pandemic period will affect the construction sector in the different regions in EMEA. And I think I'll hand it over to you, Gabriel, for your first thoughts on this.
Yeah, starting with a hard one, because it has affected in so many ways and in so many levels, not only the construction sector, but the main society. I would start saying that you have obviously a lot of projects being delayed, being stopped. In emerging markets, you had a very severe problem in terms of unemployment and people being laid off, and you lost a lot of momentum with the skilling that the construction companies had locally. You had obviously the credit worthiness of the sovereigns and the private companies also being hit severely. But then you also had some impacts that I think that will last, that are rather positive, especially working with Africa, is that we started to have a little more online engagement with them. So the digitalization and this type of transition in emerging markets, it's really speed up the process. For those of you that worked in emerging markets, you will relate to this, because before in Africa, you would only count the presential meetings as a proper meeting. They would not count, like online discussions as proper business discussions. And now you're pretty much able to do everything online, even due diligences. We were involved during the pandemic in an online due diligence, which was very challenging, but it paid off in the end of the day. So, but I think that the main things has to do with the new vision that we're starting to have by now. So in the meantime, you also had the financial systems responding very quickly and with incentives and with new instruments. It was extremely quick in the response. So yeah, I think that we're still getting to figure it out how the future would look like. But these changes, they are already quite clear at the moment.
Thank you. Good input. Anyone else who has any?
Just to add on that, because Gabriel is discussing on the emerging markets, but I believe it's as well on the mature markets that we collaborate and we're active. I believe everybody knows that the pandemic was a catastrophe in all levels, but it's true that from these events, it always comes some opportunities as well. So it's true that in emerging markets, it's more obvious as well, because as you were saying, digitalization, things that were not present at the time, but also in mature markets, it's an opportunity to do things differently and to look to new investments, maybe new sectors that we didn't know that were so important, or we already know, but we need to pay more attention to those. So I think always from bad things, you can bring some opportunities, and converting it as a catalyst for good development in the future years. So that's on the positive note.
I agree. I also agree with Gabriel and Alfonso, because the construction sector was quite resilient, I would say. Was not the most effect in the society overall. Coming to us in our business was really an opportunity, because then people gave more attention to indoor climate and the need of ventilation, and also we, in mature markets, for example, we try to look to opportunities in the healthcare sector, because there was a huge demand, so the system was not prepared, and we could speed up some product development, especially designed for this pandemic. And like Gabriel said, it's different from mature markets to emergent markets like in Africa, because in Africa the challenge was huge, was much more, the impact I believe was much more evident on the society, because even with these digital meetings, we were not so present so often because we couldn't travel, and a lot of projects in the construction were postponed or just lived for another time. So there was an impact, but still a positive effect from this digitalization and this digital meetings and so on. Was difficult moment, but with a positive outlook, I would say.
Good, and now we're kind of touching on the outlook. So what do we see for this industry in EMEA going forward? Marco, let's continue with you because you're
in the project sides, we see the market will slowly recover in the next 2-3 years, I would say, especially in healthcare sector, public buildings, infrastructure. All this type of projects will open opportunities for us in a different way, again, depending on the region that we are focused. In Africa, for example, definitely infrastructure, logistics will be the first needs that we should look into. In Europe, we see special this type of investments in big buildings, not so much in infrastructure like roads, for example, but in hospitals and public buildings, different way of seeing the buildings, and with the huge opportunity with the sustainability, and depending how the government will, the different governments will support the economy, the sustainability in Europe will open a window of opportunity for us in our sector.
I believe, as Margot was saying, the construction for me would continue to be fundamental. It's the base. It's one of the biggest contributors to the GDP, and it will continue to be fundamental. But it's true that probably is shifting from the traditional projects, roads, etc., to face more current challenges such as sustainability and in mature markets as Europe. It's true that I believe the transportation would continue because there is a necessity for transportation projects, but it's also true that we're seeing more and more projects in terms of digitalization, healthcare, sustainability, water treatment plants, etc. So I think it will continue to be an opportunity for investment in the coming years, especially as well with the funds that the governments have put in to boost the economy. I think construction is one of the biggest tools that they have to promote growth in the European Union, at least.
And I think that one thing in the construction sector that we should also pay attention to in terms of outlook is that construction, for its very nature, it's a local business, you know, and it's also very cyclical. And what we're seeing now is that the next cycle will be worldwide, you know. It's normally you have the cycle in different regions, so you can actually balance the attention and the investment of the companies, but right now we're seeing this everywhere. And this is a very important challenge for the markets we serve, in Africa especially, because we will have to rely strongly on the local supply chains and networks as well. So you can expect, I think we can expect a high level of localization in the businesses in Africa, necessity to upscale. We see some trends as well in terms of the export finance, also responding to this, increasing the local eligible content for emerging markets and such. So I think this is also something to pay attention to in the construction sector, is the high level of localization and upskilling that will be needed from now on to cope with all this investment boom that we are expecting.
Good. And then what are some challenges in regards to this that you see now, kind of continuing on that a little bit? We talked about the outlook and the opportunities, but what are some challenges going forward?
From the product side and from the production side, definitely I have to share with you the concerns that we have with the supply chain, with the problems that I think more or less is transversal to all business sector. We have problems with the supply chain, with the raw materials, with the electronic, plastics, even wood. We were talking before we entered. So today's it's one of our main concern. It's how it will be in a couple, 6-10 months or 1 year. I think this will be quite challenging for us. Of course, it's a concern, Samira. We don't forecast with 100% sure that it will happen one way or another. But this after COVID, we see that there was a demand on the market, and we were doing relatively good. I would say most of the sectors in construction, and definitely now we have this new challenge with the supply chain. With when you look to the aluminium, copper, metal in general, woods, and it's difficult to forecast for 6 months. I would say we cannot. Basically, we are doing this in a daily basis in our different factories. So
even in labor as well.
Even
you
in
can
labor.
see in the UK
Yes.
the problems that they're facing right now with the labor. So that's something that we need to acknowledge and try to find quick solutions, because I think we're catching up with the adjustment that we needed to do after the COVID. And that is something that we're facing, as Margot was saying, in the materials, but also in labor for projects for example, in the UK. It's something that we need to take into account.
And what are some coping mechanisms within your organizations to meet these challenges? You mentioned you keep observing in your factories on a daily basis to kind of maintain
try
focus.
to reach new solutions and being more flexible with the suppliers, and try to shorten the distance with our customers by informing them in advance as much as possible, and trying to planning for the future, and on the construction, it's possible to have a good planning, and this is the tools that we have today. But definitely it's to increase the communication among us and with all the business partners and stakeholders of our business. This is one possible solution. For sure there is some challenge, like Alfonso said, also with labor and depending on the countries. And in Africa, the impact is even worse, because usually we have long delivery times and from the distance, but now it will increase definitely. I don't know exactly how you see this, Gabriel.
No, I think
and
that
the impact.
what we see from our clients in the EPCs especially, they're all focused in expanding their networks. They're looking for new partnerships, for new suppliers. And I think the export finance is also playing an important role on this. So you have EPCs from Spain, from Portugal, considering suppliers from Sweden or from different countries that were normally not the obvious partners for them. So now I think that due to this, challenges with the funding, challenges with the supply chain, challenges with the labor, everyone is kind of focused and expanding its networks and going for non-obvious partnerships, either in the developed world, but also locally, increasing the capacity of the local suppliers and supply chain. So I think that it's probably the first mechanism that we're seeing in our clients is to expand their network and trying to build different sorts of partnerships to cope with it.
Do you see that?
Yeah, on my sector, I work on the concession side, so this is as well an opportunity to collaborate a lot with the public sector, because our projects are usually with the public sector. So what you see is more direct communication with the governments, with the public sector, and we're tending to go to a place where you are in a true partnership with the public sector. It's not the public sector is not an enemy on the projects, so they are with you on solving the problems, etc. On coping mechanisms, the construction sector is always adapting in any case, because you're always facing challenges that you were not expecting. So I believe this is one of the sectors that is more flexible to find solutions out of nowhere. As Gabriel was saying, finding new partners or new suppliers that may solve the issue, finding new efficiencies on the projects that you didn't think about in the past before, but now. So I always look for opportunities, and I think this is another opportunity for being more efficient, being more competitive, and changing a little bit the way that we were doing things. So,
yeah, the construction sector has a lot of flaws in terms of technology, innovation, But I would say that if there's one thing that the sector has is resilience. So in the construction sector, you pretty much are able to respond to anything because the variability of things that happens is not like the tourism sector in a hotel that has never faced actual challenges, you know, like in concessions and dealing with public sector and construction. It's every day a different story. So this was just another one. So we're ready to respond to this.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Sounds positive here for the future.
Not
a challenge
reasons,
for you.
Very optimistic sector.
Yes, very optimistic sector. We will. I'll take
right
that.
reasons, but we're ready to respond to it.
So, what are some? If we look at EMEA as a region, what are some of the projects that you see? If we look both, I know it's different from different organizations, but if we look at, for example, Europe versus Africa, what are some of the projects, the different projects that you see on the different continents? Maybe we'll continue with you, Gabriel. I know you are the
in Africa, that's no news in talking about the infrastructure deficit and the opportunities. So I think that you have pretty much opportunities everywhere. You have some obvious ones in terms of integration, connectivity, transportation, also on the back of the trade agreement, the continental trade agreement. You have, of course, a lot of demand for water treatment plants and water projects and social infrastructure as a whole in the healthcare sector. You also have one important sector, that it's the energy sector and the renewable energy sector. And there's so many trends driving the sector. We were speaking before with Marco and the EMEA. There are challenges and opportunities in the energy sector, or how the energy sector affects it. So I would say that in Africa you pretty much have all sorts of opportunities in infrastructure.
For us in the production in ventilation and air conditioning, we can split in two parts. One in mature markets like in Europe, we see it. Of course, it will continue. In housing renovation, more and more, and definitely it's sustainable construction and sustainable solutions. Green construction for us and our products should be more sustainable, more energy efficiency, with the life cycle cover totally during the running of the products in the installations. And in Africa, like Gabriel said, we were looking with a lot of expectations, not only in infrastructure market, but also in this digitalization brings to us this data center business and opportunities in Africa. The demand is huge. We start almost from scratch, and we must balance both things, because there is an energy demand for this implementation, and but there is also a need. So we have to fulfill the different needs in each country and have a global perspective for the region, sub-Sahara countries, for example, but then act locally with the governments and the ONGs and of course with the financing institutions that have to support those countries and help us to develop these new projects on those countries.
For me in Europe, as I mentioned before, I think it's going to continue having a lot of presence, the transportation. But it's true that, as you are discussing, as you were saying, Marco, that we're moving towards other kind of projects, such as a lot of social as well. We're seeing energy, of course. It's one of the main topics now in the European Union as well. And as well, with all the funds that are coming from the government, they impose a lot of green solutions, digitalization. So I think we're going to keep seeing the traditional kind of projects, large railroads, etc. But more and more, we're going to as well see water treatment plants, social projects, and obviously energy sector is going to grow a lot.
And are there certain regions in Europe, if we talk about Europe, where you see that things are
In Europe, what we're seeing is the traditional markets are still strong. The UK, they have a lot of pipeline, Ireland, but we're also seeing other countries such as the Nordic countries. In Norway, we were following some of the projects there, and as well other countries that came out of the previous crisis as Greece, that they're doing a huge effort to redevelop the country and bring more infrastructure. So we're seeing that. It's true that with the funds, probably as well as Spain, France, Italy will come up with great projects and solutions as well. And it's true as well that other Eastern countries in Europe are coming with some projects. So I believe after the pandemic, everyone wants to boost their economy and bring investment. So those are the regions that we're following right now are those that are really attractive.
So there are opportunities out there.
There are always opportunities.
Just go grab them. Good. And from the, I mean, you talked again a little bit about the export financing, but what do you think the export financing can bring to these different regions? Because it's probably different in Europe versus
I think
Africa or Middle East.
It's definitely a very powerful and demanding tool. The way that it's used has been changing throughout the years. It's very dynamic how it has been changed, both in terms of the demand, also in terms of how it's structured. So, and this is pretty much what we do for our clients. So basically we would have before the demand being driven by the buyers, and then you had the moment where the EPCs would find collaboration with suppliers from different regions and come up with packages to be offered to the clients. And now that's an interesting trend where you see the export finance and the projects also being driven by the suppliers, which is something relatively new. So they're stepping ahead and finding the integrators afterwards, also because there's also driven by the flexibilization in terms of the local content. So this is something that you wouldn't see a couple of years ago, the suppliers driving the infrastructure projects. And this is what's happening right now. On the side of the emerging market side, I think one thing that it's at the one hand very positive and also a challenge has to do with the environmental and social issues, the requirements and the way it affects the projects. And I also see now a huge demand on the financing, pretty much in Africa and from the sovereigns. We've been pressured and incentivized to bring financing solutions that would count with a level of concessionality. So we have to, I would say that export finance alone right now for these markets not being enough due to constraints in the public debts and the credit worthiness of the buyers. So we probably, we already seeing, but we're seeing every day more a blend finance where you have the export finance work together with some level of concessionality to make projects feasible in these regions.
Okay, thank you, very insightful. Anyone who wants to add anything?
Yes, Samira, for us in Systemair, we see it with a huge opportunity that we want to take. And like Gabriel was explaining, now it's relatively new in emergent markets that suppliers come with the financial solution and by hand, you know. So it's a different type of approach, because in the past what was normal, it's companies like ours, we work with contractors, with the local APCs or installers, even installers in a different level. And more we are interested in taking the opportunities to come in an early stage to talk with the final customers, to know local how the project will be developed, and if it is possible to take the opportunity to influenciate what suits better for our products. And this is also good in locally, because with us we bring the newest technologies and solutions when it comes to sustainability with green construction. So it will boost also the quality of the projects in those countries. And I think you agree with me, because as we have our foots on the ground, then we can clearly see that some projects in the past, they were just financing, and then they were not at the same level as expected in the end. So this is a way that we can influenciate more and more the projects, and the final quality of those projects will serve more the proposal, and will have a positive impact on the society, on those countries. Energy management and efficiency, and of course, if there is a need to save energy, so if we use the right products with the right solutions that are adapted to the needs, we can contribute, and we change experience from us to these projects. And it's a way that we work all together. And of course, with SEAs like Business Sweden, it's quite important, because you bring us to the projects, and we can exchange our experience among us. And this is the right way, in my opinion, to do it.
For me, I believe it's a great opportunity in the emerging markets, and it's also a useful tool for the mature market to, as Marco was saying, bring together different companies, etc. But it's true as well that we need to take into account in mature markets that there might be some distortions to the competitiveness in some of the process. So that is something that we need to balance as well, in order to take advantage of the opportunities that all this export financing brings to the projects. And as Gabriel was saying, not also in terms of the financing itself, but also in other requirements that make the projects better. But as well, on the other side, we need to make sure that there is not a distortion on the competitiveness, that a company, especially in mature markets I'm referring, that a company entering a market in Europe that is already present doesn't have a huge competitive advantage because they have the support from one of these export financing. So I think the balance in the developing countries is a great opportunity. In the mature markets, we need to balance and find the right equilibrium.
And I think in terms of then financing, and I know during the discussion in Turkey, they were mentioning now the sustainability factor in the financing procedure. So maybe you want to continue to elaborate on that. What are your experience with this, in preferably then the
what
mature
we're
markets?
seeing is now, it has been for a while, but now it's a mass sustainability in all the aspects that we do, not only in the construction, but in our usual life. So it's something that has been integrated from the client itself, the governments, of course, the private sector, the employees, and obviously the financing sector as well. So we're starting to see requirements from the government in terms of, you need to do this so there is less carbon emissions, you need to recycle the water, to be accountable for the sustainability part. But as well, as you were mentioning, on the financing side, we're already seeing some requirements from the financing institutions on, in order for us to lend you money, you need to demonstrate that your project is going to be efficient, sustainable, that is a green solution, and that you comply with certain elements. So I think it's becoming, in the mature market at least, it's becoming more and more a fundamental requirement that we're going to incorporate in the coming years as any other like basic for the project. It's true that in the emerging markets, and you need to find probably the balance.
But even in the emergent markets, the environment impact now, it's a requirement. The carbon footprint, it's another one, and it's quite positive that the new projects that we are bringing to those countries and societies, it's really improving their lives and the quality of life of living in those countries. And I think it's really positive, because maybe in the past we didn't look to the projects as we should in terms of impact, So Now it's an opportunity to rethinking the way we approach and the way we see the impact on the local different countries.
I think we in Africa we will find a balance. I mean, that there's no, I don't have the answer right now, and I think no one does. But at the one hand, you do have the positive impact of bringing in top-notch and local and expertise and measures in terms of environmental and social sustainability. On the other hand, it's very hard to apply the same rules in different areas. You know, I'm not saying about the general regulation, which obviously we all agree on, but I'm also talking about the small things and small requirements that end up delaying substantially projects with requirements that actually not really apply to the local society and to the local realities. Again, I don't have the answer what's the optimum balance, and I think that we will get there. And the very fact that we are discussing this, it's already something good. But I know that the contractors and the project sponsors that are watching to this panel will relate to what I'm speaking in terms of when there's ECA involvement and this type of requirements in emerging markets. They not always are suitable to the local reality. So again, I don't have the answer, and I know what's the optimum balance, and I think we'll get there. But this is a reflection that I think that the whole market and the ECAs and the financial institutions have to bear in mind to bring this reflection home and come into agreements.
Yeah, of course, there are different challenges in different markets and regions, and there are, of course, substantial differences in these different markets that we are talking about. Yeah. But if we stay on the topic of sustainability a little bit more, and how do you think that companies in this industry now can use sustainability as a competitive edge?
I think one of the ways that when it comes to the new building and construction, we see that the companies and the customers will demand these sustainable projects also, because they will want to be part of it. So one of the reasons it will come from the market itself, because there will be a demand from the customer side asking for this type of construction and this type of carbon footprint and green building as a requirement. So if there is a demand on the market, of course we will have to adjust fast. And we see a lot of investors in both sectors, also in the public sector. We see that there is a need, and the people demand that we fulfill different expectations when it comes to the proper use of the energy, the efficiency of the installations, and how the products will be recycled on the end of the life cycle. And this is new topics that, like we said before, in coming back to 5-10 years ago, maybe this was not on the top of the agenda. Was a requirement for a high-end market, for sure, but now it's not only for the high-end market. There is a conscience, global conscience of this environment impact and the climate changes. So all this will affect in the way that we will develop the next projects, and it's already happening now. We must provide all the certifications and that fulfill the demand of the customers and the investors, because at least for the life cycle of the investment, they want to be sure that the energy cost and the running costs of the building will be inside the budget. You know, no deviations. But like Gabriel said before, we have to be carefully, because it's not the market is global, but then there is specific markets with different needs and with a different approach and different perspective. Immediately I think in countries like Mozambique and the challenge that we have to to come to the sustainability, it will take still a while until we can implement immediately, because we must fulfill the basics first, the basic needs first. And this is the balance that we must understand, and we have to be flexible when we develop solutions for the future and for the future generations, definitely.
On my side, on the concession agreements, is becoming clearer and clearer that the governments are requiring more and more sustainable solutions, and they incentivize that, so that the more sustainable you are, the more competitive you are in the bid. So, but as well, it's not only coming from the governments, as I was saying before, it comes within the companies, at least on ACS. It's one of the basics of the company, and as well from the financing community, that they're going to impose more and more the sustainability vision, in terms of we can give you better financing as long as your project accomplish some of the sustainability requirements. So I think it's a reality in all the sectors, and everyone is promoting that sustainability is a competitive edge as well. That before, I think it was more something that you would think this would not bring me any advantage in the competition, thinking more selflessly, but now I believe it's a reality that everyone has that in mind, and it's more on the competitive side. So.
Yeah, maybe it's becoming more of a basic requirement almost, rather than, than an option.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
We are running out of time. We have talked about a lot of things: partnerships, collaboration, the outlook, export financing, of course, sustainability. But before we wrap up, I would just like to ask all of you if you have any last or final words in this that you want to share with our audience out there that you think is important under the topics we have discussed today.
Yeah, besides I can start, and besides we do the balance of what we have been discussing today. We are looking for these opportunities in Africa, in Latin America, in Europe, of course, still, but definitely there is a space for develop a lot, and I would like to as a highlight, this opportunity for our sector to develop and to bring and to share this know-how in different regions, like in Latin America and in Africa. I think this is really important, because then we can decrease the gap among the different regions, and I think this is what we can bring from the good part of this situation that we live today, with optimism.
Yeah, no.
Good.
For me, it's more or less the same. This is a time of opportunity for everyone. So I think we need to think a little bit differently. I think we have a chance to change things that before they were already embedded in our minds, and we need to take that opportunity and try to build a better society. That I think now is the moment, because we suffered, we passed through dark times, and now I think is the time for doing great things that we didn't think about them 10 years ago. So optimistic and
good.
Always.
I like it. I like it.
No, I also end on a positive note, and also take the time to congratulate the work that Team Sweden is doing through Business Sweden, AKN, SEK, the whole structure that you're putting together. It's already, I think, the third year, right, of this construction summit, and I think that the integration between this technology, financing offers, getting closer to the contractors that have footprint on the ground in Europe, the very fact that this summit is taking place with contractors from Portugal, Spain, and Turkey as well. So I think that the outlook is positive. At least we are optimistic, and we made it clear in our discussions, and we think that this level of partnership will still be very important. So initiatives like the one that we're having today and the one that Team Sweden is putting forward for a while now, they're very welcomed, and I think that will support, continues to support the development of these so needed projects.
Thank you. Great, positive outlooks, and I didn't tell them to say that beforehand, so this is all from them. I want to thank everyone who has participated, who's been listening, and of course to our talented and knowledgeable speakers today. Enjoy the rest of the summit, and I hope you enjoy some fruitful business meeting this afternoon. Don't miss out on any great opportunities. Over and out from Madrid, Spain. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Stockholm studio. We had two really interesting panel discussions in Istanbul and Madrid, where we highlighted the global footprint of EMEA contractors, the innovative and high-quality solutions by Swedish companies for construction sector, and also Swedish technology and financing offer for projects in and outside of EMEA. Next on the agenda is a Q&A. And I will ask some of the questions here to my Team Sweden colleagues. And I also invite you all to write live questions in the YouTube commentary field. And we will answer them also here. But first, Per, you mentioned earlier that you are close to closing new deals. Can you elaborate in which sectors these projects are in?
Absolutely. We will not be able to obviously elaborate too much in details due to that they are not public yet. But we have 6 projects which will be closed in the near future. There is one water cleaning project. There is one water distribution project. There are 2 hospital projects and there are 2 railway projects.
Thank you. Very interesting. And Maria, the next question from the YouTube channel is to you. How do you define Swedish content?
Okay, when we talk about Swedish content, it's important to remember that the purpose of this initiative is to promote Swedish interest. And we're looking for value added in Sweden, job opportunities in Sweden that should be beneficial for Swedish companies. So we're looking at 30% of the contract value, which should be Swedish content. And then, of course, with Swedish content, then we mean it could be goods or services actually produced in Sweden. It could be produced by a Swedish company or a foreign company, but if the production is in Sweden, it is Swedish. But we can also look at goods produced outside of Sweden, but where this company producing is part of a Swedish group with headquarters or substantial functions such as R&D in Sweden. But as I said, the important thing is to remember that we're looking at promoting Swedish interest in all transactions.
But I think also to add here, I mean, come and speak with us. I mean, we from Business Sweden, we have our offices locally, or you can speak with us centrally here, and we can help you and guide you here, sort of find the right partners to speak with. And we can also give you some kind of guidance that, okay, in these type of projects, maybe we have a problem to find the Swedish content. In those others, we have easier to find it. So.
Yeah, interesting. And Per, do you have something to add there on the Swedish content?
Well, 2 things I would say. One thing is obviously the Swedish interest. So like Maria is saying, what is actually linked? We don't want to have any solutions where you just have a mailbox in Sweden and then source everything from where. Everything has to make sense, obviously. That's one thing. Another thing about Swedish content is also basically that there is not enough, and in order to be more competitive, I think that we can have cooperation strategies with other entities and other countries. You know, if you look in the Nordics, for example, I think that combined, we can offer very good solutions in water cleaning, in waste management, and waste to energy solutions, and so on. And there you have to have cooperation also within the ECAs. So we can cooperate with wind power, for example. Perfect to cooperate with the Danes trains. Perfect to cooperate with Switzerland, and so on. So it's a Nordic interest, which is Swedish interest.
Then what we can add there, normally in the projects, it's much easier if you have one anchor client or supplier. And then like Elof Hansson came in the South Africa project that we had Hitachi Energy, that was the sort of like anchor supplier. And then you add the rest with Elof Hansson. I think I could say that on your behalf, that if you're asking for just providing concrete from Sweden for a project, that will not really fly. So it needs to be some kind of related to employment here.
Yes, and we have a strong industrial base and companies, strong Swedish companies in the sectors we mentioned earlier. So there, I think primarily you could look at those sectors and you will find enough Swedish content.
Yes, and also to add that sustainability is also very important, of course, for us. And Swedish companies do have an edge in this as well. Thank you. The next question to you again, Maria. Is it possible to get an insurance for the income of a PPP project?
Okay, that's a very good question, very interesting. And the answer is yes, it is possible, but it's a much more complex and complicated risk than when you have a Ministry of Finance guarantee or the Ministry of Finance is acting as a lender. So we can definitely look at it, but it's a case-by-case analysis that needs to be done, and a deal like that has to be very well structured. And but of course, we are prepared to look at it and see what we can do.
Maybe also to mention that in those kind of structure, ECAN and SEK only doing on the debt side. The equity side need to come from someone else. So it need to be in partnership with other financiers. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat on YouTube as well. But we will move on. The next question is to you, Hans. So what's next in the EPC Alliance?
I think we have quite a few things going on right now. I mean, this is the first summit in the series of 3. We will have one event for APAC, the 10th of November. We have one for Latin America here in the end of November. And then APAC and Latin America is a little bit of a new market for us. We would like to find new projects there. We have a lot of concentration to certain markets in Africa, so we would like to diversify it a little bit more. When we assess what the interest here in Latin America and Asia, we probably will continue with this next year and reach out and go a little bit more into detail. But I mean, I think we would like to see a little bit more project coming out from especially Latin America, but also APAC. So I think that is where we are standing right now. Then, of course, next year we will have the same target when it comes to closing transaction, working with our pipeline, getting in more companies into it. And then for the events next year, it probably will be in the fall again. Slightly different setup. We have not decided exactly what we will do, but it's that we will continue with this program for probably another year or so.
Yeah, and hopefully closing 5 more deals annually. Perfect, good. And if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can always contact us by email or mobile phone, and we'll help you. And now for the next point in the agenda, we will have the afternoon program, which is business-to-business meetings. It will be for the remainder of the day. And as mentioned, you will see which meetings you have booked on the website. And please do accept or reject if you have any pending requests still. But I can see that we have quite a lot of meetings booked through the system. So this is really, really great to hear and see. And yeah, I think with that, we wish you all fruitful discussions during the afternoon, and see you later.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm going to show you how to book B2B meetings on Digital Construction Summit platform. First, log in, then go to My Availability section and activate your availability. This means that you're available for B2B meetings on October 20th. If you don't do that, you cannot request a meeting from participants, and participants cannot request a meeting from you. To request a meeting from someone, go to Participants section and choose Matchmaking on the left panel to see participants who are available for B2B meetings. Scroll down the page, and if you see someone you would like to have a meeting with, click Request Meeting. You can add a message to your request. That person is going to receive your request immediately and get back to you with a meeting time. You can follow this process on Meetings section. Once they accepted the meeting request and chose a time, you will see that here. Here you can see meeting requests sent to you and accept them as well. When it is the meeting time, you can directly connect from Meetings page. You do not have to go anywhere else. That is it. We hope you have a pleasant experience.
Energy is essential to our everyday life. It heats our buildings, lights our streets, and powers our companies. But as the world is growing, so does our need for cleaner and more efficient energy. And to achieve that, we need better and more innovative energy products. And that has been our mission for more than 125 years. We make cables and provide solutions to the world's power grid that have been engineered to last and perform in any environment and any situation, every time, every day. Across the many countries where we operate and thousands of projects in which we participate, this is who we are and how we deliver lasting value for our customers. No matter the project, no matter the country, one thing stays the same: our dedication to providing true value to our customers with the services and products we provide. It is our customers' needs and our ability to provide them with safe and reliable products that keeps us innovative and keeps driving us forward. We take pride in being an essential part of the world's power grid and are passionate about designing sustainable energy solutions for tomorrow. We go wherever we are needed. High sea, the mountains, or the big city, we are there, making sure that every cable, every connection, every termination works perfectly. We are NKT, and our passion brings power to life.